So little reminder here, like the rules in the gym don't really apply. Kind of get creative with your body and cues and moves and kind of form little rules of like things you have to keep and remember as you're going through this. So go ahead and start by working on your full exhale from this position. So I'm going to mute everybody. But if you weren't muted, I should be able to hear you. So in through the nose, see if you can get the exhale to last for about 10 seconds. Vicky, bring your knees up. Yes. And then Christine, bring your knees up a little more. And what you should start feeling is that top ab. So your left side, as you're exhaling, picturing that side just deflating, deflating. And if you're not feeling it, just exhale even longer. So by a show of hands, everybody feel abs at the top side? Awesome. A little bit. Jesse, did I see your hand? Cool. What about you, Jawarwa? Any abs? Exhale even longer, and then bring your knees up a little more. So if you're not feeling any abs, exhale literally until it gets uncomfortable, and that's when you should start feeling it. And flip over to the other side. See if you can prolong it even more. So picture that top side, your right side deflating into the ground, full breath out. And then Pamela, get a little taller through your chest. Yes, so that way head, shoulders, hips are all aligned. And then the next one, you're gonna go into a rock back lat stretch. So hips go back into your heels. So some of you have done this one. What you want to do before you start is push away from the ground using your elbows. And then as you reach your arm across, your supporting arm does not relax. So if you start with the right side, elbow is down into the ground, keep it down into the ground as the right arm reaches across. And then big breath in, you're gonna try to stretch everything from your shoulder all the way down to your hip. And then full breath out through your mouth. So now you're doing basically side lying and a stretch. So picture the side that you're exhaling, the side that's crunched up, that's the same side that was the top side on your side lying. So full breath out, you should feel the left side abs, and then inhale, think of stretching the right side of your body or whatever side you have across. On this one, you can exaggerate the breath in to exaggerate the stretch. And it should feel pretty intense, just not painful. So don't go too extreme to the side. Kind of work with what you have. And then switch to the other side. Fully exhale. Now you're deflating the opposite side. If you can breathe from your shoulder all the way down to your hip. And take a break. Now you're going to go on all fours. You're going to go into quadruped tucking. You're going to try to move your hips as much as possible in each direction. So whatever works for you. I'm really flexible, so arching my back feels like nothing. So kind of work with the motion that you have. First, push away from the ground using your arms, and the breathing stays the same. Out through your mouth, exhale as your back pockets pull up, so you untuck your hips. And then inhale, back pockets get pulled down, and you're trying to get all the motion from your hips, and your arms just never stop reaching. So inhale, back pockets get pulled down. Exhale, back pockets get pulled up. So Jesse, upper back come down a little bit there. And then Pamela, middle back, let that come down a little bit, and then push with your arms without shrugging your shoulders. That was better. So push from that position. So untuck as much as you can and then tuck as much as you can. And it's all being driven by your back pockets. And rest. So back to the side lying. This time, same thing. You're exhaling, top side's coming down. Now your bottom side, you're gonna pretend it's that lat stretch, and you're gonna try to breathe into the ground. So if you start on the right side, fully exhale, 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 exhale. Keep the ab tension at the end of the exhale, and then inhale. Think of breathing into the floor. So same spot that you stretch from your shoulder all the way down to your hip. Can you concentrate enough and feel that push down? You can close your eyes if you want. So you're deflating the top side of your body and then inhaling into the ground. And see if you can mimic the lat stretch. And then flip over to the other side, same thing. And bringing your knees up, hips about 90, and knees about 90. So deflate the top side. And then inhale into the ground, armpit area, low back area. And relax. So you're gonna combine, so instead of lat stretch and then the quadruped tucking, you're gonna go all fours, single arm reach. So if I'm on all fours and I have one arm on my shoulder or hand on my shoulder, I'm reaching away from the ground as if both arms are still on the ground. So I'm not allowed to rotate my trunk in either direction. And you're gonna hold each side for 3 to 5 breaths. So that depends on your level. So you'll set up on all fours. The way I like to set up is mid-back completely drops. So relax your middle. From that position, unshrug your shoulders and push away from the ground. So notice my head's not migrating down. So I'm pushing away, slight tuck through my hips, and then arm on my shoulder and breathe for 3 to 5 breaths. Each exhale, I'm pushing away from the ground without rotating my arms. So you should feel a lot of abs. And Jesse, soften your elbow a little bit. Yeah, right there. Alexander, hand forward. Yes, hand forward and then shift the way forward and reach away from the ground. More. And the exhaling stays the same, and just keep the hand on the shoulder. And Kyle, flatten your mid back a little more and then shift the way forward. And then reach without the mid back. That's better. And then let's see. Good. Nice, Vicky. And rest. And then you're gonna go back to the sideline. So your arms get to take a break, but the concept same, deflate the top side, fill up into the ground. Just start on the right side. Bring your knees up as high as possible. This is basically side plank level 1. If you're wanting to add a reach to this, you're going to top side, you're going to reach down, forward and close to the ground, and then down. So you're reaching forward and down, so your shoulder blade is forward, not pinching your lats together, and that might get you a little more abs if you're reaching down as you exhale. So your hand should basically be hovering around your knee, reaching down in that direction, or right above your knee. Nice. Down even more, Pamela, towards your knee. Yeah. And then Karen, towards your knee. So you should be basically like hovering, reaching towards your knee. And still fill up the floor. And rest. Other side. Let your basically palm and wrist rest right on top of your knee. So that's the direction you're reaching, is down and forward, and then your hand and wrist are right on top of your knee. Perfect. And take a break. Back to all fours. So mid back, right here, that comes down. And then when you're looking at your hands, make a conscious effort at just keeping everything parallel to the ground. So you're elevating everything up without hunching the mid back. And then slight tuck through your hips, keep the forward lean, and then put your hand on your shoulder. Nice, Karen, that was perfect, right there. Jesse, elbows. Yes, there you go. And then Alexander, hand forward. Felix, unshrug and reach some more. Nice. And then Andrea and Jawarwa, hand forward. So bring your hand forward. A little more. Yeah, both of you a little more. And I'll shift the way forward. And now reach. And that should make it feel more like a plank. Awesome. Yeah, if this is ever too easy, your hand's too close to your knees. And rest. You're going to go on your back this time. We're going to go dead bug, or not dead bug, glute bridge hold. If your arms are tired, keep the arms on the ground. If you want to add a little bit, you're going to add a reach. So your hips are barely off the ground. So I could only stick my hand between your hips and the ground. So start by rolling the top parts of your hips towards your chest. Check in with your knees. Your knees are straight. You can feel your entire foot or both feet on the ground. And then either hold this for breaths or at a reach. Each exhale, think of still pulling the top parts of your hip, which is going to stretch the quads out if you feel stiff through there. If the hamstrings cramp, it's easier to start over. And think, because you're pushing into your feet, that's how you're able to hold yourself in that position. Awesome. If you're doing the reaching, each exhale, reach a little more. So this is basically the top position of your squat. And rest. Now we're going to go into squatting. If you have a book, you can get a book to elevate your heels. So I'll give you like a few 30 seconds to get that before we go through it. Or a yoga mat. You don't have to. I'll just make you squat lower, make it harder for you. Yeah, perfect, Kylie. A yoga mat works. So we're not going to squat very low. We're going to start with just like a semi-squat. Your knees barely bend. Your hips are underneath you. So if you're elevated on a book, your feet are still going to be straight ahead and your heels are on the book. And then feet and knees are going to keep everything straight. So when you squat down, don't allow your knees to drive out. Don't allow your feet to turn. And don't allow your chest to come forward. So start out by softening the knees. And from that position, the motion that you've practiced, pull the back pockets down. That gets your hips right underneath you. So start with that position. Knees are slightly bent, hips are underneath you. Nice. Tuck more, Alexander. And then Jesse, get a little taller through your chest. Yes, tuck more, Felix. And then Jawarwa, knees straight. So turn those knees in. Yeah, it's not gonna feel like a regular squat. And push into your feet as you come up. Nice. And then you're gonna go into a relaxed toe touch. So I don't want you to drive your toe touch really hard. I don't want this to be a big stretch. I want you to just be able to relax into it. If you're really stiff, you might have to soften your knees. So feet straight ahead, relax into it. So can you just in through the nose, full breath out. If you're feeling a massive stretch, bend the knees just enough to take the load off of the stretch, or take the stretch away, but not so much to where you're feeling quads. Awesome. Yeah, just relax into it. Can you just fully exhale in that position? Nice. And take a break. You're gonna go back into the glute bridge. So on your back, see if you feel like you can roll even more after your squat and the toe touch. If you want, you can add a reach or you can just keep it. So feet straight ahead, roll your hips. Make sure you can feel your whole foot on both sides, heels, toes, arch. Full breath out. So pay a lot of attention to your feet. Think because you're pushing into your feet, that's how you're able to hold yourself in that position. If you're reaching, each exhale, reach a little more. And relax. So that same focus on the feet follows you into your squat. So now back on your feet, heels elevated if you have a book. So find the heels, soften the knees, pull the back pockets underneath you, and then reach without hunching over. So same concept of all fours, and then this time just squat a little bit. Knees are straight. Come up a little higher, Kyle. More, and now tuck. Keep tucking. There you go. Nice, Felix, that's better. And then get taller, Alexander. Get your hips underneath you by tucking. That's better. Good job, Jesse. Less hunchy. Tuck more, Andrea. There you go. And now push into your heels or feet as you come up. Nice. Back to the relaxed toe touch. So relax into it. See if you can just fully exhale into that position. Can that exhale be longer than the one on the ground? Can you get it to go 12 seconds? So this should be comfortable. It shouldn't be torture. And if it is, bend the knees a little bit. And come up. Back on the ground with the glute bridge. And play around with your stance. So see what it feels like to go just a little wider. So widen your stance, like not too much, and then still think of keeping your knees pretty straight. So don't drive your knees out. So just play around with a little bit of a wider stance and then do the same thing. Roll your hips. And if you want, you can add the reach. And think because you're pushing into your feet, that's how you're able to hold yourself in that position. So Andrea, get a little lower. And then from that position, roll your hips more. Nice. So think of like rolling, and that was good. Rolling the hips without getting them higher. And take a break. Back to the squatting. Squatting looked so good that let's add movement. So as low as you went last time, that's as low as you're gonna go here. So you'll start by, this is your top position. So you're not gonna go all the way up. Top position, and then you're just gonna drop a tiny bit on the inhale. Inhale, exhale. Don't go all the way up, but get the full exhales, which should take you almost 8 seconds. And then inhale, exhale. If your heels are not elevated, you won't go as far, just like me. If your heels are elevated, that allows you to drop a little more. Tuck more, Pamela. More. There, perfect. So try to stay a little more upright, like Alexander, that's perfect. There you go. Nice, Jesse. Awesome. Tuck more, Jawarwa. Knees straight, everybody. And relax. That should have been a lot of legs. One more toe touch. Nice. And rest. For your last move, it's a nasal breathing move. So you'll lay on your back and then in and out through your nose, so tongue on the roof of your mouth. You're gonna plug your ears, and what you'll do is you'll breathe in for only 3 to 4 seconds and then breathe out for 8 to 10. So look like this in your head, like in 1, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you're going to feel like you're not getting there. So you have to go slow. 9. And then in just for 3, 2, 3, 4. And then out. And you shouldn't really hear yourself breathing. So just go through the numbers. In for 3 to 4. Out for 6 to 8. Maybe even longer. In and out through the nose.